Hey guys, what's up? Today I'll be ranking the entire Disgaea series, including spin-offs and also including some of the Disgaea-like games, like brothers and sisters of the Disgaea series. As usual, I won't be covering any only in Japan games, only the ones that got a North American release. And consider this as my Halloween special video, so happy Halloween season everybody. Let's begin! So I'm gonna start with the very first Disgaea, Hour of Darkness on the PlayStation 2. Obviously, please remember that I'll be ranking the versions that I played. Disgaea 1 has a million versions, PC, Nintendo DS, PSP, PS4, Switch, even mobile I believe. However, the version I played is the PlayStation 2 original, the brutally hard one. Anyway, I played the PSP version, which has like an Edna mode. In this mode is like the same story but without Laharl, different characters, different outcomes and whatever. I never made it any far. The version I put a lot of hours into was Disgaea 1. I never beat this game, beat the crap out of me. I got to a point, I did like 20 hours until I was completely exhausted of grinding and grinding over and over again. Anyway, it's a great game, the start of a very important and iconic series in the strategy RPG genre. And because I value this game a lot and because I value his historical importance, I'm gonna give it a B. And also because it is a great game and the characters in the story, man, so memorable. I love this freaking trio, Laharl, Floan, Edna, and the Prinis, man, you gotta love the Prinis. Disgaea 2 on the PlayStation 2 was the first Disgaea game I ever played. I love the game and it is the only Disgaea game I have ever finished. Some years later, I played the first game and I noticed the difficulty differences. Like, I personally believe the first game is way harder than the second Disgaea game, but that's just my opinion. I don't know what I did different or, I don't know what I did to beat Disgaea 2. That was a long time ago, but I beat it and I loved it. I also really like the characters. It is a follow-up. Edna is in this game as well. The Prinis are there, but it focuses more on other characters, their struggles, and a different part of the Disgaea Netherworlds universe. Great game, I love this one. I think it's more balanced and slightly better than the first game, so I'm gonna give it an A. Disgaea 3 is like the black sheep of the family. There's two versions, I believe. If there's a PC version, I don't know about it. There's the PS3 vanilla version and then the enhanced port on the PlayStation Vita. The Vita version is the one I played. That was a gift sent to me by a fan. And this game, it is the black sheep for a reason, for a good reason, because when it comes to story and characters, it takes place in a school. It does have some cynical, dark humor moments like the Disgaea games, but it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like the right setting, the right characters, the right dialogues. I don't know, something felt off with this game. Gameplay-wise, however, it's good old Disgaea. It plays very similar to the other two games. There's a couple of new things here and there, but nothing really outstanding. Overall, it's a good game. It's a Disgaea game. It just, when it came to characters and story and all that jazz, it didn't do a lot for me. It's a C. Disgaea 4 is probably my favorite Disgaea game. I never finished it. I made it all the way to the final boss. If he beat the crap out of me, he was so over leveled and so powerful. And then I went and grinded a hell of a lot and I still couldn't do it. And I was like, screw this. Because I don't know, to me, sometimes it's, when it comes to games like this, it's not that important to me to beat the game. I made it all the way to the final boss and that's it. Sure, I didn't watch the ending, I didn't achieve it, but the journey felt way more important because the characters here are so fantastic, the memorable. Valvatores, he's probably my favorite Disgaea characters. He's an idiot. Fenrir, the manipulative con man, strategist. And then the Fuka, I love her. It has a great cast of characters and the Prinis are there. Good old Disgaea. Is it harder or easier than the other? I felt it was just hard, just equally hard as the first two Disgaea games. Maybe not as hard as the first one, but hard nonetheless. Anyway, it's a great game. I love this game, almost a masterpiece. I'm also going to give it an A. Disgaea 5 is a great entry into the Disgaea series. Gameplay-wise, interface, the controls, the map design, I think this game nailed it in terms of gameplay mechanics. It is slightly better than all the others, like it did everything right, all the others did it great, and this one learned from every single thing all the other games did, and did it better. But in terms of story, however, well, it's a great story, the dark sense of humor, cynicism and whatnot, silly stuff here and there, but I don't know, man, these characters, I like some of them, like Christo. I love Christo. He was my favorite character. But the three main characters, I mean, Kilia, Serafina, and the red big guy, muscular fella. I don't know. They just didn't click with me. I was barely laughing the whole time. I was like, am I supposed to laugh at this? Some of the comedy felt forced. I don't know. The characters didn't do that much for me. I mean, nothing against them. I did find some scenes funny. There's something cool in each one of these characters, but it's just, I don't know. I prefer all the other Disgaea games, with the exception of the third one. I think this one has a better story and characters, but Disgaea 1, 2, and 4 had much better characters, more memorable, and the comedy just felt more natural. It's still a great game, so I'm gonna give it a B. Now, Disgaea V2 on the PlayStation 3 is not exactly a spin-off. It is a direct sequel of the first Disgaea game. That's right, same characters, same story, obviously different, issues, different plot, different silliness, different stupidity, a whole new journey. It is a direct sequel. It just didn't get a lot of recognition, and it was released late. I think it was released on 2013, almost at the same time as the PlayStation 4. It went on a lot of people's radars. Is it a good game? It's great. It's a good game. I just didn't quite enjoy it, and I gave up like very early because I am just not the biggest Disgaea 1 fan out there, and you really gotta be one to properly enjoy this one. Anyway, it's still hard, it's still grindy, same map design. I mean, it's a direct sequel in all sense of the word. I just wasn't the biggest fan of it, so I'm gonna give it a C. Okay, here are the spin-offs. There's 3 spin-offs, the 3 Prini games. One of them is a visual novel called Disgaea Infinite on the PSP. If this was a Prini game, they could have called it Detective Prini. What's the point of calling it Disgaea Infinite? That confused the hell of a lot of people, and the game flopped because of that, because everybody was expecting, a normal Disgaea game, and they got a strange, weird-ass visual novel. It's still funny as hell, very good in terms of story, characters. I mean, the same old characters and all that jazz. Edna, Laharl, the Prinis. And I said Detective Prini because you play as a Prini who needs to stop Laharl from being killed. There is an assassination attempt at the beginning of the game towards Laharl. Somebody's trying to kill the guy, and your whole quest as a Prini is to stop that, to find out who is trying to kill him. So you go around getting clues, but to do that you need to possess people because you've become some kind of ghost, and you need to enter, possess people and do quests. However, I'm having a hard time explaining that because it's so goddamn confusing, unnecessarily convoluted, that I couldn't get into it. I was like, what the hell am I doing? What am I supposed to do here? Like, you use the triggers to possess people, and sometimes you gotta do it at the right time or with the right character. There are several different endings here, several different routes, and it's a very short game. You can beat this game in less than 2 hours, and it has replay value because of the routes and endings, but at the same time, it's so hard to understand. It's a mess. So I'm gonna give it a C because as a visual novel, reading these characters and watching the comedy, you'll be laughing out loud. The Prinis has so much charisma, but it's just as a video game, it kind of fails. Next up, we've got Prini 1 and 2. Prini, Can I Really Be the Hero? And the other one about panties or whatever. Yeah, brutally hard games. These aren't RPGs or visual novels. These are 2D side-scrolling platformers. They're very fun, very addictive, very well done. The controls are very clunky, but that's made on purpose to make you fail over and over again. They have so much charm and charisma. The Prinis are the main core of the game. I love that. These games are great. They're just so goddamn unbalanced. I'll probably never beat these games. And I know they were recently released on the Switch, maybe with a better easy mode. I mean, the second one had an easy mode on the PSP, but the platforming was still brutally hard. Bosses were a walk in the park on easy mode, sadly, but the platforming, the areas, the puzzles were insanely hard still. I don't know about these games, guys. I'm gonna give them a B, both of them, because I think they're great. They're just games that I'll probably never beat. At least not the PSP original version. Maybe the Switch versions one day. Next up, we've got 4 games that I chose for this video, 4 Disgaea-like games developed by the same company. but two of them, they do take place in the Disgaea universe. They are like official spin-offs, like Makai Kingdom, I'm pretty sure that's one of them. Phantom Brave, I'm not too sure. And the other two are more like their own games, nothing to do with this, but kind of connected in a way that they feel so Disgaea-like, you know. Here, in these games, even in the character design and the story, the silliness, the humor, it feels so Disgaea-like. That's why I picked them all four. First is Makai Kingdom, and I've never talked about this game before in my channel. There's only one reason. I don't like this game one bit. I don't hate it. I don't think it's a bad game at all. I just couldn't get into it. It's like a mixture between Phantom Brave, we'll get to that later, and the Disgaea games. It's not grid-based. Your characters move in these, you know, limited areas. But I don't know, it just did nothing for me. It was funny at the beginning and interesting, got an interesting start, but as time progressed, I was getting bored to pieces. And this was back then, back when I first had played the first two Disgaea games, and I just couldn't get into it. It wasn't for me. It was just different of a game. I don't think it's a bad game, but it's by far my least favorite Disgaea-like game, so I'm gonna give it a D. Phantom Brave, there's 4 versions of the game. Vanilla version, which is the PS2 version, that was the first one. Then an enhanced port on PC, Wii, and PSP. I've played all of them except the PC port. But the one I play the most is the PSP port. Now, it's a good game, it's a great game, hidden gem, I covered it quite recently. It's kind of complicated at first, convoluted because you gotta confine your party members to an object, and it's very hard to explain, it's confusing, but once you get into it, once you really understand the basics, you'll be fine. It's a good game, it's great, and it has that, you know, Disgaea sense of humor. I'm gonna give it a B. La Pucelle Tactics is a game on the PlayStation 2, kind of underrated. It's not a masterpiece, but I think it's a game that gets a lot of rejection because it is very slow at the beginning and the maps can be quite long. Like sometimes you'll be there for 1 hour playing just one map, which is divided in several maps. It's like one big dungeon and you gotta beat it all, sometimes in a row. You can just exit at any given time, but you're gonna have to restart from the beginning once you come back, and that's a pain in the ass. But it grows on you. The game grows on you because it has such memorable moments, great characters, so goddamn funny. I mean, the main character, oh man, she's so funny. She makes me laugh my ass off. It's a great game and great story, great characters and all that jazz. Some dark moments here and there, but it's mostly a comedy. And the gameplay, what pissed me off about the gameplay is there's these like geo symbols, something like that can affect the flow of battle. You can just move them and point in one direction, and they affect the terrain. I don't know, it was different from the Disgaea games, and I never really liked that. So I grinded my ass off. It's not that hard of a game, but it can be pretty brutal if you don't understand that system. I didn't, so the game, late in the game, it got pretty hard. I never beat it. I got to the final stages, which you need to beat like 2 or 3 stages in a row to beat the final boss, and I think I never made it past the first or the second one. I think it was the second one, I don't remember, but at least just like with Disgaea 4, I made it all the way through the end. I love the game, it's great, but it has a couple of flaws that can really ruin your experience. So you gotta be patient with this game. It is an acquired taste, but I guarantee it's great. I'm gonna give it a B. Last but not least, Soul Nomad and the World Eaters. I love this game, man. It's great. It's almost a masterpiece. It's a game that, once again, takes some dark humor, cynicism from the Disgaea universe. There's this evil god that is inside your main character. It's very confusing at the beginning because you gotta, customize the rooms and all that jazz. And these formations that are on the rooms. It was unnecessary, to be honest. That was so convoluted on purpose, unnecessary. That was a stupid idea, but you get used to it. Once you get used to it, it's not hard to get used to it. Once you do, you love it. You just be, creating different formations and different rooms. Rooms formations are like the same, and to have different characters and see what characters belong in what part, in what room with which other characters and whatnot. It's a great game, a fantastic game. The flow of battle, you can't control it. Characters, battle against each other. Sometimes they mess up bad. They can gang up in one weak enemy instead of attacking the leader, which makes some battles unnecessarily harder. but it's not like it has some difficulty spikes that are annoying, because this game is fairly balanced, fairly easy compared to the Disgaea other games, and it's a great game. I love it. I'm freaking loving this game, man. I really like this battle system. Almost a masterpiece. I'm gonna give it an A, and I just gotta admit, out of all these games I've ranked so far, it is my favorite. And that's it, people. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video with your friends, and once again, happy Halloween. See you next time!